If your grandmother were like mine, she had a drawer full of colorful hankies. Some were used only for Sundays or special occasions, and others were for every day. You are truly blessed if you inherited the contents of that drawer. Today, we want to give you ideas for displaying that precious inheritance on everything from doll clothes to home decorating items. And if something new is your desire, you will love our clever, quick, and easy idea. So whether your preference is something old or something new, I just know we're going to have a wonderful time together in my sewing room. Let's begin, shall we? I am so pleased to have as my guest today, Amy Rine.
Hi.
Amy is a designer from Middleton Doll. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I am so excited about this adorable doll dress. And I know we were sitting here talking before the show began. Handkerchief, handkerchief. Now, what do you hear?
I hear both from where I'm from.
From where you're from. So we're going to have a fun time knowing.
Yes.
And I bet our viewers would say, well, I say handkerchief and others say handkerchief. So
Yes.
viewers, just either way is perfect, just like you're perfect. Now, this adorable doll dress. Amy, I'd like to start a little bit at the details at the top of this dress before we get down to this beautiful handkerchief skirt. The details are absolutely gorgeous with the piping, the silk organza piping, and this wonderful little trim that looks like tatting, but I think it's one of those lovely rayon trims.
Yes, it is.
Now, you can put as much trim as you want or don't want on a doll dress because dolls really don't care. They just love everything we make for them.
And it doesn't itch?
Doesn't itch, no, and it never gets dirty, and it doesn't get outgrown. And they just, so I just love sewing for dolls. Well, you know I love dolls, period. Okay, the little panel down the front is really, really sweet with the piping on both sides, and I especially love the little covered buttons that makes it even happier. Now let's get on down to this wonderful handkerchief skirt. It has the wonderful shaped panel in the front with the handkerchief, the painted or the antique handkerchief, and then the wonderful binding, and then the binding in between. And I'm going to turn this baby around so everyone can see the machine embroidery. The machine embroidered pieces are all that blend with that beautiful handkerchief, go all the way around with her big sash and her pretty little bow. And I'm going to turn her all the way, oh, she's so sweet. I'm going to turn her all the way around. And Amy, I thought of another idea too. For those of us that just love our machine embroidery, making a dress like this, let me see, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different machine embroideries that would be so much fun. Sometimes we get a CD and we think, well, how am I going to use all of them? Well, guess what? A doll dress like this. Okay, Amy, I've talked too much. Tell us how to bake that adorable dress.
Well, what you want to do first is get 10 handkerchiefs. They're usually 12 inches by 12 inches. And you're going to want to place your hand painting in a corner or your machine embroidery in a corner. And if your doll isn't too tall, it's possible that you could use both sides of your handkerchief. Just depends on how much length you need on your skirt.
Sure.
Next, you want to apply double fold bias binding. This is organza. And you can see that you will finish that on the front and the back.
And miter that corner, of course.
Yes. After you do that, you're going to take each of those pieces and do what I call an out seam, or it's the beginning of a French seam where you're seaming it to the outside. And then you're going to apply the binding to that seam too.
Straight stitched on both sides.
Right, and then tack it at the back there. So you'll continue to do that all the way around the skirt, and then you end up with a skirt.
A little bit more than a circle, actually.
Yes, yes. And then at the very back, you want to create a placket for your opening and gather that around to fit your bodice of your dress.
And you know what? This little precious little skirt is actually a pinafore over the, even though it's sewn into the waist. Let me lift this up. We have the little dotted Swiss underdress, and then this is really just a little pinafore that has been sewn on the top. And you know what I was just thinking? I did inherit handkerchiefs from my grandmother, and I still have them very carefully placed in a drawer. And when I saw that, you know how I love dolls and how I really do. My first sewing was doll dressing, Amy. Was yours by any chance?
Yes.
Well, that's where I first loved to sew, and I made the most unbelievable things you've ever seen. You know, like took a piece of fabric, cut a hole in the middle, and slipped it over its little head.
And it didn't quite fit.
That's okay. It fit, and it was perfect as far as I was concerned. I love sewing doll clothes. But I'm probably going to take my grandmother's handkerchiefs and do something like this, because this means I could have all of them treasured in one place rather than sitting in a drawer somewhere.
Yes.
Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
you. Next I have some sewing inspirations for you. I'm so happy to have as my guest today Charlotte Gallaher. Charlotte, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Martha.
And these wonderful things you've done, I cannot wait for our viewers to see. This, now Charlotte, what did you say you call this?
A baby shawl.
A baby shawl. And I love the fact you've done a machine embroidered bonnet brim. And then you ladies are going to love this. Look, she has used buttonholes in the back, double buttonholes to run the ribbons through. And Charlotte, you're calling this a baby shawl, and it's blue, so this will be wonderful. But I will tell you, a long time ago, these were called christening shawls. And the christening capes, and they really did tie the little bonnet around the head. But wouldn't this be sweet for that occasion, too?
Right. In fact, that's where I got the idea. I saw it in an antique magazine.
In an antique magazine, the christening cape. This is, of course, it's lined, the baby blue and the white. And Charlotte, you know how much we love machine embroidery. I know this was a baby pillow that I had bought, I'm not sure where, I think maybe it was France. And now it has been digitized and been able to do by machine. And you know we love reproducing antiques.
Right.
Now this is called what, Charlotte?
This is shadow work by machine.
And you use
fabric.
fabric.
It was done in the embroidery hook, actually. And fabric was the first put down and stitched on water soluble, and then you applied your pillow front to it, and it completed the embroidery.
It's just wonderful. Shadow work by machine in the embroidery hoop. I just love it. Charlotte, you know, I am a huge fan of monograms. I think that's one of the most fun things about machine embroidery is we have these beautiful monogrammed towels. This is a fabulous paisley monogram, and Charlotte, I love the way, what kind of braid is this you put down here?
It's actually ribbon run through the hem stitching on there, and then I wove another silk ribbon over and under it, so it looks like a braid.
Oh, it's wonderful. And these are purchased towels, of course.
They're all
and Charlotte,
purchased.
is this more of the shadow work embroidery by machine in the hoop here?
Right. And I used a darker
Well,
fabric.
I'm going to lift this up so our viewers can see what you use behind it. The darker fabric when you did your second run and trimmed it away.
And then matched the thread to the dark color on the top.
And I think originally the machine embroidery showed these in white antique linens, didn't it? Okay, more of the antique linens done on wonderful guest towels, tea towels, whichever one you call them, face towels. The beautiful antique white work on purchased towels, and the basket. And what's so cute about this basket, and I know this is an antique one too, is that the middle part is done on netting. So it's a peekaboo.
Right. It's an applique design.
An applique design. And this adorable little reproduction antique dress. And what is this fabric, Charlotte?
That's silk charmeuse.
Silk charmeuse,
I used the wrong side of it to replicate the old-time crepe silks that they use for children.
Using the shiny side. Okay, you use the wrong side of the silk charmeuse.
And also these are reproduction antique from baby clothes.
This is kind of 1920s. Let me turn around to show. You see the sleeve is all one piece, and this is so typical of the 1920s and so popular today, so simple.
Right.
Oh my goodness, little circus babies. Oh, how cute. And what is this,
This is a crib caddy or a toy caddy, and you just tie it onto the side of the crib, and then it has some pockets on the inside too.
Pockets on the inside, and these little circus babies, and wonderful dotted Swiss, and this just seems like you put rickrack, run through ribbon and little fringe and more rickrack, and it's padded. Charlotte, something like this would be wonderful to actually tie anywhere for toys. I know with grandchildren, our toys are always all over the house, but this would be great for a crib.
Right.
And this beautiful jacket. Oh, Charlotte. Is this what, crazy patch? And
it's kind of a crazy patch. I just laid fabrics down, but the fabric is actually ties. My brother sent me a lot of his ties. He has really good taste in colors, I think.
And he sent you his ties, and so you use this as tie fabric. Oh, Charlotte,
and
how
I cut
pretty.
them just randomly with a rotary cutter, and then the seams are covered with different machine stitches and trims.
This is so good looking. So now that's the way to use the ties that our husbands don't wear anymore since everything's so casual. Charlotte, this fabulous, fabulous jacket done out of the handkerchief linen.
It is, and these are vintage designs. They
Antique
have wing
designs.
needlework in some of the designs.
See, we love these antique designs on something contemporary, and I just cannot wait for our viewers to see this.
And then it's a repeat. They were all done in a large hoop to get not have to have so many hoopings.
And you use the wing needle again in brown on this beautiful. This is, see, I love antique designs, and I love the way you take them and use them on something thoroughly modern. And this is a wonderful little jacket with a tie. Once again, the pink charmeuse is for the little camisole and the lining. Charlotte, you do such beautiful things. It's just a joy to be able to share with our viewers the wonderful Charlotte Gallaher touch, and especially with machine embroidery. I think that's your real passion, isn't it?
It is.
And now Charlotte has a so quick, so easy idea to share with you. Charlotte, I absolutely love having a new way to use machine embroidery in something for ladies. This Pashmina shawl, which is just the softest cashmere you've ever felt, started out as a plain turquoise shawl. We have machine embroidery and tape, but I'm so excited about this beautiful skirt that you have made using a Pashmina shawl. This is absolutely adorable. Once again, a wonderful way for machine embroidery, and as you can see, the fringes on the bottom of the skirt. What a high fashion piece, and I understand it's very easy to do. Charlotte, show us how.
Okay, Martha, thanks. The first thing you want to do is it takes an entire shawl to make the skirt, and I cut it in half so that I have two pieces, and you want to, if depending on your height, you might want to shorten it more, so you would take it out in the center. I also, after I had cut it, I ironed a piece of fusible interfacing to the wrong side. The sides are the same, so you just pick which side you want to be the wrong side and which the right. Then
Of the whole skirt.
Of the skirt.
Everything has fusible, okay.
And then I did my embroidery, marking the center for the embroidery, and completed the embroidery. Once I had completed the embroidery, you're going to sew the side seams of your skirt. So you sew, I used 1/2 inch seam allowances for the skirt. I marked from the top 3 inches on both pieces, the front and the back, for my casing. Then I sewed the seams. I top stitched a 1/4 inch on either side of my seam. Then I turned the top edge down to the 3 inch line and stitched along that line, inserted the elastic in through the casing, and you have a simple skirt. It takes no time at all to make.
And Charlotte, as I said before, it's just an incredibly wonderful way to have something for us to wear that is really easy to do. And Charlotte, this is the softest feeling cashmere I have ever felt in my life.
It is.
And whether you want to just do the embroidery on a shawl, the way I have this one, or to do this wonderful skirt, this is a beautiful fashion piece and very easy to make. Charlotte, thank you so much.
Thank you, Martha.
And now we have a home decorating project for you. Charlotte, I just love these Christmas stockings. Silk dupioni and using handkerchiefs with machine embroidery right here. This is so precious. I mean, I'm going to open it up so you can see, kind of get the idea, and then Charlotte's going to show you how. And then this one I absolutely love. Once again, a hanky and little machine embroidered silver snowflakes and silver embroidered monogram. Pull it down, silk organza. Oh, Charlotte, you're so talented. And then this one is a little bit different. This one doesn't poof out like that. This one,
it's just tied around.
Okay, and let me turn it over so you can see how this one is tied in the back. Oh, Charlotte, these are so cute. And show us how to do these beautiful stockings.
Okay, Martha. The first thing, you take your Christmas stocking pattern and cut out your front stocking piece. And if you're going to pipe it, or if you're going to put embroidery on the stocking, you want to do everything you're going to do to the front of the stocking first. Once you've completed that, then you're going to lay that piece right side down onto the back piece, and then layer that on top of your lining pieces right sides together. You're going to stitch 1/4 inch seam all the way around using your completed stocking. You're going to cut that out, leaving a 1/4 inch around it. Then you're going to turn it. You're going to turn it twice by reaching inside the lining first, turn it completely inside out, and you might want to use a point turner or the little skewer that I have here to get it out. Then you're going to reach inside the outside of your stocking and turn it completely. And your stocking is completely finished on all the edges except the top. You're leaving the top undone.
Now, Charlotte, that's a magic trick. You reached inside the lining first and
between the two linings, and then the outside.
And you sewed all 4 of those pieces together,
right
at the very beginning.
And then you're going to make a little tab to hang it on. Once you've done that, you're going to take a handkerchief, fold it diagonally. If you're going to do embroidery or a monogram on it, you want to mark the center, do your embroidery, cut the diagonal fold the width of your stocking top. Then you're going to base that on there, cut a piece of bias, or you can even use straight edge, and complete the top edge of your stocking by stitching and then turning it over and stitching in the ditch. And you have a completed stocking.
Charlotte, that is absolutely fascinating. And I think these are the prettiest stockings, and I love the fact that you've done machine embroidery or machine monogram or child's name or an adult name or whatever you want.
Right.
Oh, Charlotte, that is just a fascinating Christmas stocking. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we have some beautiful hand embroidery stitches for you. I am so pleased to welcome as my guest today my very dear friend Beverley Sheldrick from New Zealand. Beverley has authored several books on needlework and is a regular contributor to So Beautiful magazine. Beverley, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Martha, for your kind invitation. It's always been great to be here and to be with your viewers. Now today, Martha, we're going to do this delightful little frog that we've got here.
Yes, so cute, or she, whichever one.
Well, you can make up your own mind about that. But as somebody said to me the other day, well, it's quite obvious they've been done by hand because they're all slightly different.
That's right.
One of the beauties of handwork. Now, Martha, these are very simple to do. So we'll just go through the various different steps that we've got here. You can see that I've got 4 straight stitches here. They are just side by side. Then I've come to the head section, which again is 4 straight stitches, but they're a little shorter and they're a little closer together. Now you can see here I've got this 2-step arm, you see there, like that. And then when you look at the legs, they're exactly the same, just a little bit longer. So you can see it's good to have an angle there. Now, last but not least, we've got to give this little man some hands, and you can see they're just 3 little straight stitches. We'll give him some eyes, which are just 3 wrap French knots there, and there's his little feet, which are slightly longer, exactly the same as the hands, but just slightly longer. And we've used 2 strands of stranded cotton to do this. Now here we are. So we're just going to take this like this. Just make sure that you've got those straight stitches there, like that, and then come up right beside it and do a second one. And then you can see I've just gone from there to there, come down again, and then I will go on and do another 3rd and 4th stitch. So there we are. You will see here that I've already done the 4. You will see how I've come in just a little bit. We don't want his head as wide as his body is. Haven't met any frogs like that yet. So here we are, just putting in these like this. Remember to take it over like that, because we want straight stitches. And just as we did with the body, we can just put in these. We can go from top and then from top to bottom like that. That's easy enough. Now, we're now going to put in his arms, and we're just going to come up like this on an angle. Just do, and we can pull that quite tight. We don't want it the full width of, and then come back just a fraction like that, and then up on an angle like that. The legs will be exactly the same, so we could just zip down here, and this time, of course, we're going up like that, slightly longer, and then up again and down again, like so. He doesn't want to come through, so we'll just leave him there. We know what we're doing. Now, here we are. We've got to the last section. We're going to just give him those little hands that we know are there. We're just going to put him like that, just that little 3-step like that. There's the 3rd one. And we'll move down and give him some eyes, because I think he needs to have those. Just start those eyes just a fraction in like that, and just that 1, 2, 3 like that to give him. We're only giving him half today. He's half blind.
Oh no.
And then we're just going to come down to here. And once more, we're going to, like this, and over to here, like this, like this, and we'll give him that other little, like that. And there he is. Now, he looks a little strange at the moment, but as I say, poor chap, he's been decapitated with his hands and he's lost an eye. But
oh no, oh no. Well, you'll have to continue stitching to fix him a little bit.
Well, this is just it, and this is what I'm doing, just to well, just give him everything that he should have.
This takes a little bit longer than we have on the show, doesn't it?
Well, that's just it. So this is why. There he is. Looking pretty.
Oh, Beverly, those are the cutest little frogs, and I love them on your blouse also. Absolutely adorable.
I know, it's amazing.
Thank you so very much. And now I have a beautiful piece to share with you from my vintage collection. This is such a beautiful christening dress. I love it. It's probably about 1880, maybe a little bit later, and it's Ayrshire embroidery. Before we go on and look at the beautiful front, I want to show you that we even have the Ayrshire that comes down the sleeves, and I think this is the only piece from my collection where there is actually the Ayrshire embroidery down the center of the sleeves. The front is absolutely exquisite, of course, as Ayrshire embroidery always is. Now let me show you this little tab. This is historically very correct and interesting. When the tab is on the outside, it was used for a boy. If the baby that was baptized was a girl, then the tab was tucked in, and I'm sure just a little hand stitching there for a girl, and that showed whether the baby was a boy or a girl. On down on the skirt, it is perfectly beautiful. The Ayrshire travels from the waistline all the way down, and this is one of the most beautiful pieces of Ayrshire that I have, with its beautiful leaves and flowers and vines and absolutely beautiful embroidery. It's one of the things that's awfully hard to find now is Ayrshire embroidery, because it's simply been bought up and there simply was not that much of it. I want to thank you very much for joining me in my sewing room today. I hope you've had as much fun as I have, and I truly would like to invite you to come back and visit with me next time.